While we'd prefer to have blue skies and warm weather year-round, for those of us in the northern part of the continent, it's simply not possible. During those winter months, private pilots can either lock their aircraft away or spend a little extra time preparing themselves and their aircraft for winter flying.
The issues you're going to encounter with winter flying are entirely caused by weather. You always want to get a detailed weather briefing before you go flying, but this becomes critical during the winter months. In the course of a flight, the weather could easily go from clear skies to an absolute blizzard.
You know, it may seem obvious, but you really want to make sure that you dress for the cold. The last thing you want to do is rush your pre-flight check so that you get into your warmer cockpit. If you're lucky enough to have a heated hangar, that's good for both you and your aircraft. If not, you might want to look into an engine heater and cowl cover like you have here to preheat your engine. Sources vary widely on this, but it's been said that starting a freezing cold engine could put hundreds of hours of wear and tear on it.
A heater like this uses forced air to evenly heat all of the air around the engine. This means you're going to get even heating to all of the engine's parts. Running a cold engine at the RPMs required for takeoff will cause your engine even more damage. So regardless of whether or not you preheat your engine, when you're flying in the winter, you have to bring your engine temperature up before you even think about taking off. You could simply run your engine to bring it up to temperature, but this could take quite a while, since besides providing thrust, the prop also does a great job of pulling cool air into your engine.
In winter, snow is going to be inevitable. We've all seen people driving around with a foot of snow in their car with a little hole cut out that they're looking through. That's kind of stupid in your car, but it's impossible in an airplane. All flight surfaces and control surfaces have to be free of snow, ice, and frost in order to go flying in the wintertime. Winter flying is not a time for laziness in your pre-flight.
Getting accumulated snow off the aircraft is just the first step. Perhaps the biggest concern with winter flying is icing. Anyone who's flown commercially during the winter will have heard this term before, but you might not fully understand what icing means. Ice or frost on the flight surfaces of an aircraft can have a severe effect on the aircraft's performance. Even a sandpaper's thickness of ice or frost can disrupt the smooth flow of air over the wing and reduce the lift that's generated by as much as 40%. For commercial airlines, icing is a serious concern. Commercial airliners are built with several redundant systems to combat icing, and airline pilots observe strict procedures to ensure passenger safety.
Yeah, there's lots of different conditions, whether it's a wet ice or a very dry snow. Different temperatures affect the accumulation factor of things that stick to the aircraft, which does affect the performance. The main systems on the aircraft, though, we have the air conditioning and pressurization system that uses the engine air off of the motors that goes through the nacelle, the front end of the engine, to keep it de-iced, as well as the forward edge. That's why they're silver on the front part of the wing. It's because bleed air is piped through that to actually heat up and keep ice from accumulating on that, or snow. So that's the main system we have through the engine anti-ice switches and the wing anti-ice switch. These switches up here is the window heat and the probe heat, and all these windows here are electrically heated, as well as the probes are heated, and even we actually use that not even in icing conditions, because it also helps with the strength of the engines in case you hit a bird or something like that.
The main system that Captain Pruitt mentioned was the use of bleed air to de-ice the wings. Bleed air is excess air that is bled out of the turbine engines and then used for other purposes. Typically, the air is drawn from the compressor stage of the engine before it's combusted. This hot air will be used to pressurize and condition the cabin, as well as being used for de-icing. What most viewers may recognize as part of winter flying is the aircraft being sprayed with de-icing fluid.
We use different forms of glycol and de-icing fluid, but by doing that, depending on what the rate of accumulation is and depending on the temperature and the intensity and the fluid you use, it gives you so long before you take off, and it should prevent accumulation from affecting your aerodynamic.
The procedures and systems used by commercial pilots are almost entirely designed to be preventative and stop ice before it becomes a problem.
If it's below 10 degrees,
Below 10 degrees, you're going to turn the engine anti-ice on. And if it's below 0, there's a chance you're going to get some ice on the leading edge of the wings, so you can click that on as well.
you can actually turn the wing light on, and at night you can actually look and see part of the wing from the leading edge, and you can actually see buildup out there. We just have a standard procedure. If it's below a certain temperature, the 10 degrees, and there's any kind of visible, you're in clouds, or it's raining, or snowing.
You just assume it's going to be there.
We just turn it on
yeah.
as a precaution.
Some private aircraft are going to be equipped with very basic anti-icing systems. Anti-icing is any system that is engaged before ice forms. De-icing systems are used after the ice is formed. The 210 is equipped with a heated prop, a heated pitot tube, and a heated windshield.
The systems here in the 210 aren't designed for flight into known icing conditions. They're really more intended to help slow the growth of ice should you experience an inadvertent icing encounter. I've flown into ice before, and I'll tell you, it's an experience that I'm not looking forward to ever having again. But that's a story that we'll talk about in a future segment.
Only aircraft that have been certified for flight into known icing conditions can fly into areas where ice is known to exist. These aircraft have undergone rigorous testing and have anti-icing and de-icing equipment on board. Again, most of the extra work involved with winter flying comes before you get in the air. With proper prep, and if you stay alert in flight, you can easily be safe flying during the winter. There are a lot of great resources for information on winter flying that go well beyond what we've talked about, including AOPA's Air Safety Institute.
The great thing about winter flying is that when you finally get up in the air, the plane actually performs a lot better. With the cool, dense winter air, the engine just loves it. You can feel the additional horsepower. And if it's not overcast or stormy, visibility is virtually unlimited. So I've done my homework, I've done my prep, I'm going to enjoy some winter flying.